Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
I'm Aaron.
This is Seeking Me Productions bring you a TV season review.
So we got to watch Wednesday.
If you're not familiar with the Addams Family, it's very old brand.
Yeah, I mean, you have it's at the end of the day, it's a family favorite. Basically, I can't really understand anybody who really doesn't know who the Addams Family truly are. I mean, they're so iconic.
Yeah, it's like that the macabre outside family that are despite the very unorthodox ways in which they live their lives.
I mean,
it's still wholesome.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only other family that comes close to them as far as their iconic nature and the type of style that this show actually, well, not the show, but the family, Addams Family, truly, thrives in is the Munsters. But to be honest with you, give me one or the other, I'm choosing usually the Addams Family.
Yes, and the Addams fans have been a long-running franchise, deriving from very old comic strips that precedes us, obviously.
Yeah.
And they got the ball rolling with the original 1960s TV series, and then it was a late dormant. They had some animated projects
Here and there.
The Addams Family were made really famous in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
With the 1991 that had the very iconic cast of Raul Julia, Angelica Houston,
Of course.
Christopher Lloyd, and Christina Ricci.
Yes.
And also Tommy Vore, the actor who played Pugsley.
That's
leaves my mind.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's actually something weird. That's usually always the case when it comes to the Addams Family. No matter who, which rendition we actually look at, Pugsley usually always gets the short end of the deal. They have got to find some way to give him more,
agency.
Yeah, yes, agency in the plot of the series, no matter which version you're doing.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's not the case this time around.
No, whole Wednesday literally centers around the daughter of the family, Wednesday herself.
Wednesday. So, even though we talk about Wednesday, that's the name of the show, they take some liberties with slight liberties, I'll say. Reimagining this very long-running franchise.
Yes.
Case in point, Gal the Ray. The Addams Family is now reimagined or highlighted, I would like to say, highlighted.
Yes.
In live action as being Hispanic Latino.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, when you look at the cast and where you're a lot of those the characters themselves and maybe the origins, it definitely does look like they're trying to, at least with the Latina aspect or heritage, is looking towards Gomez's side of the family. But then when you look at the cast,
yeah, it's only a few of the members are cast as in that light, with the main star Jenna Ortega being the titular role. The series is somewhat of a moving forward. It's more of like an evolution of what the franchise has been for a while now.
But this time around, we want to center in on the children, specifically Wednesday herself.
And we're thrusting her and how she interacts with almost everyday society. And to the point that they aged her up in a high school. It's a high school area now.
Yes.
But obviously, no surprises here and the normal traditional sense of high school. She doesn't fit in.
Of course not. I mean, why would she? She's an Addams.
The series moves forward with moving her into the school, this new canonical edition of the Addams Family is where Morticia and Gomez will reside in their youth, the Nevermore Academy.
Now, this particular estate joins a hierarchy of fictional schools that are introduced in mass media, and definitely something that looks like this was going to be their attempt to try and turn this into the next coming of the Chilling Adventures when you had Sabrina. So I guess this is where this particular niche was supposed to be trying to cut out itself with in this show. And for the most part, I actually did like the concept of the school, but at the same time, Wednesday's story completely it burst away from that. It's so much bigger than that small concept.
Yes,
so
it's like they want, like, even though it's a school setting, the main plot actually revolves around her diving deep into her own family heritage.
Exactly.
The history of where they came in America, and when they resided in America first. The School of Nevermore Academy, a lot of the plot, like where the series ends at the point, I can honestly say that they can do away with the whole school setting.
Yeah.
Overall. Because it holds this show really back.
Yes.
Into what it can do creatively.
Now, just understand this concept. Let's, go directly towards the heart of the series itself. The titular character and her point in this particular series.
Jenna Ortega is a talented find.
Yes.
2022 has been a year of her most notable projects to date. And she has been a very clear highlight in each of them.
She had huge, humongous shoes to fill with the role of Wednesday Addams, considering that it was already made famous by Christina Ricci when she was in this in those shoes during those 2 movies that she was in. Absolutely adored her,
and she brings it home.
Yes,
with stellar deadpan delivery.
Oh my god!
A mesmerizing performance,
and the quips. I'm sorry, she is just killing it, but figuratively and literally.
Yes, like the show really do live and die by her. And the writing really do support her, and Jenna Ortega does an amazing job of delivering.
She just eats scenery. She's so mesmerizing to watch. You just, when she's on the screen, you can't help but just pay attention.
And it's like she is so good in the show that, unfortunately enough, so many of the characters. Now, despite how good of the actors are doing, they are doing some. The directors do a really good job.
Nobody really phones it in the show. It's just that
the show, everyone's characters, mostly the students that's revolved around the Nevermore Academy, they fall into very, very noticeable cliches.
Archetypes that usually follows any type of series, especially when you tell with school settings.
The show doesn't do the students any favors when they have them having fallen into so many of the normal, traditional high school cliches, despite the fact that they have this quirk of being like a monster high.
And in that particular sense, we're talking about they legitimately go out of their way to try and classify specifically which each student is really falling themselves into, whether or not you're a vampire, werewolf, siren, whatever. When you compare that to somebody like Wednesday Addams coming into your school, who otherwise, other than a nifty little quirk that she has unique in this series, she's just a gothic, macabre individual. The main focus or the main reason why people love her is because she is so weird, so macabre, and she embodies the darkness and the beauty behind it.
Not to say that now all the characters are like this.
No.
Gwendolyn Christie, she portrays the character of Miss Wems.
Oh my gosh, she is such a...
Miss West.
Yeah, is it Miss Wems or Miss West? I'm not sure. But either way, Gwendolyn Christie just kills it. Her poses in this series are to die for. That woman knows how to work herself in the heels, and she knows how to pose. She is glamorous all day. I love her.
Her character presents regalness.
Yes,
but
such
also strong authoritative figure. She provides much of the cat and mouse. Like situations for which Wednesday Addams finds herself in. The school students, and they take a much of the screen time to the point that despite the very fact that Wednesday Addams is the title character, and this is a new iteration of the Addams Family brand.
Yes.
The Addams Family themselves are relegated to guest characters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Louise Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones, they portray Gomez Addams and Morticia Addams, respectively.
Yeah, honestly, they do bring their own unique flavor and artistic style towards these two characters.
Louise Guzman, in particular, he is like the first time in which in live action is actually portraying the more comic strip accurate iteration of the character.
And then when you look at what Catherine Zeta-Jones brings to Morticia, I feel as though I find her to be more of a more reserved and at the same time,
she brings a lot more pathos to the role of Morticia than what was that was previously presented in other iterations.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because they go and do some diving deep into the history of Addams Family, despite the fact that the Addams Family are not necessarily present throughout the show.
Either way, I'm really looking forward to whatever else they can actually bring towards both these characters, and of course to Wednesday and the entire series in and of itself as they move forward.
Before we go into production, the other character that should be highlighted more than most is the character of Thing.
Yeah,
they elevate the Thing character to major supporting role here.
Now, usually when you have that particular character, it's a non-speaking role because at the end of the day, Thing is just a hand.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that they use this character in this series is so brilliant. You really do, unlike the other, and I'm not going to say that you couldn't necessarily get a form of personality from Thing in the other series, but I desperately understand this character more so in this iteration than I ever did when I saw him previously. You truly do get a sense of what he's thinking and how do they feel.
Yes, and the interactions between the characters really do highlight much of the character's uniqueness as well.
Mm-hmm.
Production side of things for Wednesday Addams is one of the other high marks that we can say about the show. The show is created by Alfred Gough and Miles Miller. Not to be mistaken with the person who directs the first half of the show, Tim Burton. Now, Tim Burton, him as a director for the first half, he helps set the tone and visual aesthetic that the show carries going forward.
Yes. And I would say that this show desperately, or at least really has its own unique flavor and vibe towards it. Even more uniquely than you actually see in other works that was in Tim Burton or the other two directors that came on board.
The visual style is, you have the gothic atmosphere, but it has a very sharp color balance that helps insinuate the contrast between the tones of which the show goes by. It can be described as a comedy or gothic drama, but it's also a nice good blend of the two.
And can we talk about the action sequences in this series?
Yeah, you would not expect a show with the Addams Family to have some very well done fight scenes.
And the VFX, I'm like, my God.
Yeah, there's a creature in here that is straight up Tim Burton's design.
Of course.
But when you look at the fight scenes, but then you have to think about the creators of the show.
And where they came from, where it was into the Badlands. I'm like, well, I mean, that makes sense.
But not to knock off, Tim Burton was able to pull this off because he has experience with his own self with doing fight scenes, with him directing the first Batman movies, as well as doing the sword fights in Sleepy Hollow. So this show, in a production sense, has been one of the most clearly diverse collaborative efforts to be put into multiple people's visions being more focused.
And, just to, side note, you'll see it when you get to that episode, but the dance sequence, I'm sorry, that was just a highlight to me, that it totally expresses who Wednesday is as a person, and I feel as though the choreography on that was just brilliant, so,
Continuing on with what we're doing here for TV, when we're covering TV, we are discussing, with a show that we like, we're reviewing the first season. If the show is something that we are continuing, we'll wait until the show is finished to do a whole series review.
Exactly.
But as of right now, I would say Wednesdays on Netflix is a good series.
With much potential to be grown into something even more so.
Mainly, the show is heavily pulled back because the very much CW freeform like teenage drama cliches that plagues the storytelling and holds it back very badly.
But I mean, I feel as though Jenna Ortega's Wednesday can totally push right past that and elevate even further. So follow Wednesday. She is your lead. That is
Wednesday, and also the Addams Family, because
exactly
they are the reason why anybody will be tuning into this in the first place.
I know, that's why. I work on it.
So that was our review for Wednesday on Netflix.
As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And please hit that bell down there at the pound for notifications. We want to hear from you. Are you a fan of the Addams Family? Did you watch Wednesday? Are you geared up for more?
Also, look at our social media outlets on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for content that we don't post on this channel.
Because, you know, we just don't always have the time in the day, but there is so much left to be said.
And also, take a look at our original content. We posted the 3rd episode of our anthology web series, The Stranger Zone.
It is so good, y'all. Please check it out. We want to give you more, so, you know, tune in.
And as always, my name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This has been a Siki Media Productions.
See you later.